Australia has had a longer period of mourning for Queen Elizabeth II than England has. 3 days after the Queen's funeral and 14 days on from her death, Australia had a formal memorial service in Canberra today, and we had a special one-off national public holiday to mark the occasion. Victoria's also got tomorrow off for the grand final parade, and in the West they've got Monday off for, believe it or not, the Queen's birthday, which is why there are fears that in most of the states we're expecting plenty of sickies tomorrow to make it a 4 or 5 day weekend. After more than 2 years of lockouts, lockdowns, curfews and other pandemic problems, private businesses will be paying out close to $3 billion in wages across the country today for no work, for no return. Let's get more from the Executive Director of Small Business Australia, Bill Lang, joining us from Melbourne. Bill, business doesn't have a choice. Small business in particular doesn't have a choice. This is just a cost imposed on them by the federal government. Have you had a lot of response, any anger about this?
There's many upset small business owners and small business families, Chris. Like, this is literally, payroll theft. What we have here is federal politicians going with a popular give everyone a day off. They're not mourning. As I've walked through Melbourne on the way here to your offices, it's good to see people out and about and they're sort of celebrating. The weather's pretty good in Melbourne. But, there's about 9 million employees in private businesses. An average of about $300 a day is the average pay. So businesses are paying out $2.7 to $3 billion for no work, which is just extra cost. Now, if you want to give a day off to all Australians, why shouldn't all Australians pay for it with respect to the government paying for it? It's payroll theft, clear and simple.
Yeah, pretty tough for small businesses. Of course, the federal government just no worries. The government and state governments, they're just going to pay out for the extra day. That's just additional deficits for budgets all around the country. It seems completely irresponsible. On the bright side, though, for small business, there will have been many businesses who benefited today, right? Because, people are out and about spending money at pubs and entertainment values. I know my family have been when they had the day off while I've been in here. But I suppose they've been hit with, they would have been open anyway, but now they've got penalty rates on those days.
Look, that's right, Chris. There are certain, say, hospitality and retail-related businesses that will actually do okay out of this, but there's a whole bunch that haven't opened, and that's because, if they're going to open, it's like 2.5 times what the normal hourly rate would be, what they would pay. And now, in the case of Victoria, there's also a holiday on Friday, which the Daniel Andrews government gave to the people years ago. And so that's a 4-day weekend. So I was only speaking to a restaurateur who's got a restaurant in St Kilda, and he said yesterday, look, we lost $800,000 from my family over the last 2 years. We don't think we can afford to open tomorrow because we're not sure, in the case of that down in St Kilda, will people be here, or will some of the people that would normally go here, will they be going away for the weekend? So again, it got sprung from nowhere. It doesn't matter what the protocols are. There's nothing in the federal budget about it. $3 billion's a lot of money, $1.5 billion hitting the small business owners. All adds to inflation, Chris. But again, it's a popular stuff from the government without an appreciation of what the impact is. They're pickpocketing small business families.
It'd be nice if there was a quid pro quo, as well as just chucking in a public holiday whenever they like. They might also do some work with lifting some of the red tape and other costs and restrictions they put on small business.
Oh, look, Chris, let's not get in the way of adding some more bureaucrats to have some more red tape, green tape, whatever colour tape you like, while they're working from home. And you're exactly right. Like, there's a couple of million odd people are paid by the government for the services they provide, many in the front line, very important services for the community. But the government is borrowing more money to pay people's wages for not actually working. It is just, economic terrorism 101. It doesn't add up. It costs all of us more money and sets people with this sort of a point of view around, well, it's great, I get this extra pay for nothing. But it ultimately comes from people that pay taxes and people that will be paying future higher taxes to deal with growing debt just to operate everyday government services.
Yeah, we all pay for it. Thanks for joining us, Bill. Bill Lang there from the Small Business Australia. He's the Executive Director. Look, I'm surprised there hasn't been much more criticism of this because, sure, we all want to commemorate the passing of the monarch, and that's been done. Do we really need a public holiday today to do that? Are we doing that well as a country, as an economy? Every budget in the country is in the red. Strange indeed that Albanese hasn't been criticised more strongly for this.